Okay, so in this example, we're going to take a look at why it's important to use specific words in our writing rather than just general words and general observations. My rule that I repeat often in my class is that specific writing is interesting writing. The more specific detail that you include in your writing, the more memorable and the more interesting that writing is going to be to your reader. I have a couple of examples on the board of sentences that are not specific enough. Here's the first one. My Netflix list has a lot of stuff in it. Well, a lot of us use Netflix now as a way of watching movies and TV shows, and we keep that running list going of all the things that we're going to get around to watching. And a lot of times that list will kind of reflect what our interests are, what kind of movies we like, what kind of TV shows we like. So just telling someone, my Netflix list has a lot of stuff in it, that doesn't really tell anyone anything. Basically all you're admitting is that you have Netflix, but you're not telling them anything about your interests or what kind of movies. So how could you include specific details to make this a more interesting sentence? Well, I would probably do something like this. My Netflix list is long and has a lot of My Netflix list is long, that's another specific detail I could throw in there, and has a lot of horror films and superhero movies in it. Now that's more interesting. It tells you a little bit about what my movie tastes are. So now I'm actually telling you something by adding in a little bit of specific detail. But as I sometimes tell my students, this is B-level writing. We're not quite up to A-level writing yet. How could we make this even more specific so that it would be even more interesting to your reader? What if instead of just saying, has a lot of horror films, my Netflix list is long and has a lot of horror films like Interview with the Vampire and superhero movies like The Dark Knight. Well, you can see that is nothing like that original sentence. We have added so much more specific detail. Now you're actually telling your reader something. These are the kind of specific details that will be memorable. Your reader will remember this long after they've read this sentence and they've learned a little bit about you. Let's look at the next example and see if we can do the same thing. The room was a mess. Well, that's so general. What room? What kind of a mess? When I hear the room was a mess, I could think about how my teenage daughter did not like to clean up her room, and so she would have books and dirty clothes and things like that just scattered everywhere. But it could also mean something else. It could be my parents recently remodeled their living room, and so there was plaster and sheetrock dust, and the workers left their tools lying around. That was also a room that was a mess. And without those specific details, we don't know anything else about the situation. We don't know enough in order to get a real clear mental picture. So we haven't really learned anything. So let's rewrite this sentence to add more specific detail. The laundry room was a mess because no one folded the clothes in the basket. So see, I've made it a completely different room than the other two examples I gave you, because without those specific details, it's just so general that it could mean almost anything. So we, as the writer, it's our responsibility to include those kinds of specific details to make our writing more interesting.